It's hard to say, yeah, you know, I'm a survivor. There's so many times that I wish I wasn't. I lived, and what about the other 49?
Go slowly into things, but I know, Jeannette, you're short on time, and so I want to make sure you get out when you need to get out. So it still sounds like you're leaning in. Are you sure you can hear me? You can hear me?
Yeah, no, it just once in a while it comes up, but it's all right.
Oh, okay. Sorry, we may.
It's cutting out in and out a little, but
okay. We'll do our best. For anyway, so you know, one thing I want to add, Maris, you are the filmmaker. This is the name of the documentary is called Jeannette, right? And also, most importantly, I just want to see screening. It's at the Frameline film. That's right. That's right. Okay. So, Jeannette, if I can ask you, because you are a survivor of the Pulse Nightclub massacre, and yet you're being kind of required to relive this event in your life, or you know, to discuss it, to think about it. Is it been particularly difficult, or is this? Do you find this on some level maybe it's cathartic, perhaps?
I think that for me, it's been something that I've been having to relive on a daily basis. There are trigger points. I mean, think about it. After Pulse, a couple weeks after that, another mass shooting. Pulse was literally the start of these mass shootings being so consistent as they are today. I mean, look at what's going on in these schools and grocery stores. I mean, there is no places to be safe anymore. Yet all these years, nothing has been done to minimize this. This is something that has been so common and such a part of our society that it is sad that 6 years later, we've actually taken steps back versus taking steps forward. But the healing in itself is something that is an ongoing thing, and allowing myself to heal each and every day, but understanding that with any trials or tribulations or anything that any individual is going through, is there are going to be moments that trigger that particular event in a way that is a little harder to deal with than other days.
Absolutely, I can imagine that would be the case. And we don't have to worry about the video if it's cutting in and out a little. Maris, though, I know you said that you connected with Jeannette originally because you met her from another project that you were hired to direct, and then obviously she, in her natural way, inspired you to tell her story and to tell a bigger story about Jeannette. And you felt a certain level of kinship or bonding with her story at least.
I did. We met while working on an anti-discrimination campaign in the wake of the Pulse nightclub massacre.
Right.
And as happens entirely too often in this country, our kind of first, our pre-interview, our call that we slated to talk right before we met in person, was the day after another mass shooting. And so I, of course, reached out to Jeannette and said, we don't have to talk about pre-production. We don't even have to talk. But we actually took time to talk that day and to kind of talk as two people. and ended up talking for 2 hours. And then when we met in Orlando for this kind of 1 day shoot, I think that we were able to see that we are both incredibly different and kind of share a core, and took some time to kind of get to know each other a bit.
Mm.
And I really felt the seed of something after that shoot, after meeting in person. And I called Jeannette a few days later and said, you know, how did the shoot go from your perspective? Um, do you think this might have been the start of something as well? And really, I mean, more than anything at that
Just
moment,
seeing
it
it.
was the kind of seed of a relationship, that then kind of blossomed into the film that you've now seen. Um, and I think that Jeannette, as you can see in the film, is incredibly inspiring, um, in terms of how she is channeling her own trauma, in terms of how she is both incredibly tough and vulnerable, in terms of how she kind of creates space to deal with um, her own processing and healing, and yet at the same time is taking on healing for her community as well and being a leader.
Yeah,
Um, and Jeannette can talk more about the experience of
yeah.
together
I
on
Yeah,
that.
mean, Maris. No, I was just saying that Maris definitely, explained it perfectly. As you know, there was that seed, but in order for that seed to grow, right, there has to be a sense of care. You have to be able to water that seed in order for it to blossom. And Maris did that, and that allowed for you to see my vulnerability through the screen. But the only way that was made possible was the fact that her and I had intimate conversations to break the barrier of, especially coming from my end, the barrier of color. Don't know what information this woman wants of me, but to see that, taking that away, we're both pretty much the same, and we've experienced a lot of traumas that were the same. So that part for her to open up to me was that watering process in order to make this film blossom the way that it did. Because I'll tell you right now, if that didn't happen, I would probably say that seed would still be in the ground. It would probably be dead. you know?
yeah. No, you obviously trust was key in order to for the film to really the eye of the camera to pierce, and to really see. And I mean, one thing I picked up, Jeanette, is that for you, you kind of can escape into your physical self so much. I mean, we can see right here, you basically are a fitness teacher and an instructor, and you're also a competitive bodybuilder. And I mean, it just seems like, I don't know if it's just the times that were filmed, but you seem to almost work out your entire waking life. So, and it comes off, and I please don't interpret this as in any way being uh, like that I'm criticizing, because God knows, uh, just the opposite. But is that an escape for you too? Like, just to that it's such a place for you to go to all the time, or do you?
No, absolutely. That's that's actually a great question. When my clients come in here and they train, right?
Yeah,
Part of healing is physical, right? Everything isn't just the verbal side. And yes, I do get everything out through my training, right? So that's part of the healing. But then if you notice the other part in the film where, Easy, he is more emotional and he communicates, right? So I needed both of those in order for me to continue in my healing. Is that everybody sees this tough woman, but then there's that sense of vulnerability where I'm able to speak about it with E, right? But the way that I get everything out is that I need to physically allow myself, I need it to be expelled through my body. And that's what training does for me. And just like it does for other people, because it helps with our serotonin levels. But then the communication with E was super important for me to, continue on this journey of healing.
yeah. I mean, I think you're. I would imagine somebody who both had to deal with the PTSD of certainly, of course, the Pulse nightclub mass killing, but all that you witnessed and that you survived, but and then maybe in other past things that have happened, that this is a really healthy way of venting and processing that. My gosh. And I don't think people really talk about that so much. You know, they focus on the emotional side of their healing, you know. Maris, what did this is something you picked up on? Because as you shot the film?
I'm not sure if you can hear me, you're cutting out, but okay. Absolutely. I mean, I think that it's not only something that it's not only an outlet for Jeannette, but through her work and her work with training people and coaching and also leading these boot camps for other survivors, it's something that she's also able to model for her community, right? She's able to say, look, we all are experiencing trauma. And here is a mechanism, here is an outlet, here is a means to kind of not only work it out, but to come together and work it out. And I think that that's really powerful.
Well, listen, I know you guys both have other promotional work for the film. It's called Jeannette. It's directed by Maris Curran. Curran, thank you. And it stars Jeannette Feliciano. I'm going to encourage you, if you have a chance to see this documentary, do. It's very powerful, and I feel very I don't know, I feel honored to have had the opportunity to see it and to talk to you guys. You know, and I appreciate your opening your life up, Jeannette, as much as you certainly did not have to take that route. And I hope and I think you'll be healing and helping others heal through your story. So, you know, thank you for doing that, is what I'm going to say. I'm very moved by the film.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah, great. My pleasure. And thank you both. And let's try to do something again soon. You know? Who's that guy?